Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his servant. I greet you in the greeting words of peace. We say in the Arabic language, As-salam alaikum. You are watching Northwest Stance, a program whose ultimate aim is to continue to invite people to the supreme wisdom or to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We are live today, June 12, 2024. I want to always thank Brother Daniel for coming through to help us to keep this show on these airways at Open Signal. I want to always thank Open Signal for allowing this program to be so consistent on their airways, most definitely. Much appreciated. Our topic for the day is from messenger to community, from community to messenger. Again, from messenger to community, from community to messenger, the word being bond in our own persons. The word being bond in our own persons. So these programs are what we call our talks. And throughout the show, you will see graphics coming up where you can write down websites where that you can get more information about what we are discussing today for this hour. These are just our talks. So it is a introduction to the much more deeper study and academic exercise of what this truth is explaining and reaching for when it comes to change in our community and change elsewhere. So remember, you should get out a pen and paper and write down those websites when they come up during the program. Again, our topic from messenger to community, from community to messenger, the word being bond in our personal lives. We want to wrap this topic around Allah's mercy and around I guess we can call it concept of self-improvement is the basis for the development of our communities. So, unity built on expediency does not last long. And also, during this program, I want to get into a very important point about our unity and about how our enemy do not want our unity. And I already knew that the unity would be inevitable. I want to read a point from the minister's book, A Torchlight for America. So, unity built on expediency does not last long. Even though we will have perfect unity, but unity built on expediency does not last long because defects has to be flushed out, which is self-hate, which is disloyalty, which is envy, which is greed, and which is improper self-images. All these must be exposed, then gotten rid of by self-improvement, the basis for development of our communities, the basis of community development. Again, unity built on expediency does not last long because defects has to be flushed out. Self-hate, disunity, disloyalty, envy, greed, and improper self-images. All of these are defects, are diseases of the heart. And all of these points to why we read from both Bible and the Quran that Allah will make all things new. And that we have a time that's called the judgment. And we have a time, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad pointed out, phrased it, the manifestations of the day of our defects being manifest. And we are in that time now. So all of the ups and downs, all of the ebbs and flows, all of the things, especially as we study and develop our character, as we study and we look at examples that will allow us to stay on our square as this world falls, we will recognize the importance of study, the importance of practicing certain precepts because of the fall of so many human beings. They thought they knew what they actually did not know. Okay, sincere, but actually went forth with power and with arrogance, thinking they actually know what they didn't know. And that is a danger in community, that's a danger in churches, that's a danger in mosques, that's a danger in politics, it's a danger everywhere. So, it's a great change that's happening today for humanity. But not change that's easy, not change that's not ugly, very ugly, okay? So again, we can't stress enough, the divine course of study at the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has given not only Nation of Islam and the black community, but has given to the entire human family if they want to take the opportunity to actually study it. Again, you will see websites coming up that you can write down websites and go to them to begin your study for yourself, for your family, for your friends. You can introduce it to the libraries if they want to accept it. But right now, the libraries, they are the people who actually run the libraries across the country. They are so sick that they are actually putting up an agenda, okay, a scheme to actually teach children homosexual lifestyle, trans lifestyle, the LGBTQ lifestyle, okay? And that sickness must be pointed out. You can go on YouTube and just see videos of black people, white people, Asians, that's actually going against that agenda of libraries, of library officials, whoever they're called, that actually is allowing this stuff to happen. People are protesting now, most definitely, as they should be, as we should be. So, as and before we realize the power of our unity, as and before we realize the power of our unity, others will be co-writers of our gifts, talents, and innate creativity, because we have not moved with a common purpose to control our own brain power and creativity. The momentum of the establishment of the unity of foundational black Americas cannot be reversed, even though the persistent effort of our enemies is to keep us distracted and divided. Not only is it an effort, the sellout leadership, or the sellout black people from our community whose minds are not right, who fear white people more than they fear God and what's right, more than they fear our community, that want to have a society and a community worthy of God's name, worthy of God's protection, and worthy of God's guidance. They are a problem today. Okay? They are a problem because they are helping the open enemy keep us distracted. When you hear black people from our community talk about they want to vote for Trump or Biden, or they want to support Biden, and really, real talk now, what Biden is going through, that is elder abuse, okay? Because of some greedy, arrogant, selfish political leaders that want to fight Trump all the way, want to make up things and so forth. And then Trump, he just lies a lot. And then Trump, he is a game player that do not want to do the right thing for the black man and woman of America, even though he would say, just to get in office, he would say certain things and be seen in the black church and so forth. All of this is political games. As I have heard it, I have heard the phrase coined a long time ago. How did that phrase go? That the Democrats and the Republicans, they are the same coin of different sides, something like that. So that is real for us today. Democrats, Republicans, all of these talking heads that talk in favor of either side and so forth. We must understand that they are not the important ones to listen to. The important ones to listen to are those who are teaching the time, the knowledge of the time, and what must be done, the dictates that's going on today, okay, for us to actually have a community, as I said before, worthy of God's name, protection, and guidance. Now, from messenger to community, from community to nation, this effort is an effort to get us to see the importance of words, of knowledge, of study, of self-improvement, of going against the grain, because our enemy is going to be our enemy no matter space nor time, okay? The events going on today is to end their world, okay? It's to end their world permanently, because they have not brought us a civilization that brings out the God-given potential and talents that is in us for our use. What they do is that they sift. They sift people, okay? They observe people, and then they try, and we're going to talk about that from the Bible later, Allah willing. They try to use the creativity and the gifts of people to keep their own civilization in power or on top, to keep others subjected. But that's all over now, because they're having such a hard time doing that, because people are now awake and really are upset, even their own people, upset of the kind of civilization that these people have built, okay? We have to get rid of so much in our own thinking that would lead to better behavior, that it is not a easy or a elementary effort to understand. You really got to get into understanding that your mind must be developed to get out of the pull of this enemy's world. So, again, our topic: from messenger to community, from community to nation, the word being bond in our own persons. A messenger from the true and living God gives the word before everything, gives the word because everything is a word. And this messenger elevates to being more than the messenger. We'll cover that later. This word encompasses or holds within itself all knowledge and understanding, regardless of this word being rejected. And what we are saying is the Allah in person of Master Farad Muhammad came to North America in 1910, made himself known in 1930. Okay, he revealed the knowledge of the time, what must be done, what we call supreme wisdom. He revealed the true dictates of the time. He revealed how there is a particular mind and a couple of more minds, okay, that control events, even control the damage that the devil's events will cause, because they will use all of that to bring in the new. They will use all of that to bring in something that the whole human family can benefit from. So a messenger, okay, and the word being rejected. In the Holy Quran, we read in chapter 40 in the 7th ayat, or verse, we read, "Those who bear the throne of power and those around it celebrate the praise of their Lord and believe in him and ask protection for those who believe, our Lord. You embrace all things in mercy and knowledge, so protect those who turn to you and follow your way and save them from the punishment of hell." So this verse is guiding us to understand that all knowledge, all approaches to understanding knowledge and the happenings of the earth and so forth, the happenings of civilizations and populations, all of that knowledge is subjected to the knowledge of the one true God in person, Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. This is a study. Now, when you see, it's a study, but it's also, we are living in the events that is forcing us to bow, to make changes, or forcing us out of here. Real talk, okay? This is the time that we live in. It's the time that when we read about in the scriptures that, he'll be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. It's a God that would come on scene that will show that he is the best knower, okay? He will show that he is the best knower through a range or variety of events, with the mind, with the weather, with every station of life that we can think of. It would be subjected to what the mind of God wants to do with it and for it for us and through it for us. So the common phrase that we use often is planting a seed, or plant a seed in a person's mind and so forth. When we talk about the word, or God gives the word, because everything is a word. Think about this. The common phrase planting a seed is describing the power of words. After the word is planted, we come to an understanding, not the understanding, That's important. After the word is planted, we come to a understanding, not the. Because look, the Holy Quran says, the Holy Quran never says that only believers mind. But the Quran always talk about believers and how they can get this favor and that favor and be in good protection and so forth. But the Quran never says only believers mind. Holy Quran says only men of understanding mind. It says that often. It's written in that book, in this Holy Quran often. Only men of understanding mind. And that means women too, most definitely. So it's important. I'm thinking about this as I said that. It's important for us to go to the Nation of Islam's universal information website, finalcall.com, and you can read articles. There's important articles to read. An article that's headed Farrakhan the Traveler, an article that's headed the number 19, okay, by Mother Muhammad and by Brother Jibril Muhammad. Very important articles to actually guide us, because these are companions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and companions of Mr. Farrakhan, most definitely. So, the common phrase, planting a seed. After the word is planted, we come to understanding, but not the understanding. Then we have to accept personal and collective responsibility according to our capacity to grasp principles in the law of preservation. How do we grow into, or we see our capacity? By how we compare ourselves to others. And if you are comparing yourselves to a person that bows to their low desires, you're making a mistake. If you are comparing yourself to a person who is quote unquote filthy rich and do not care about the poor, you're making a mistake. If you are preparing yourself to a person or persons that are students of supreme wisdom and that are major characters, prophesied characters, fulfilling scripture, okay, prophesied writers, prophesied speakers, and so forth. And when we say prophesied, the prophecies are some that we read and some that we actually match up to descriptions and so forth. I'll give you an example. When the Bible talks about, in Acts and in the book of Genesis, that that God's people would be enslaved for 400 years among strangers, and they would be evil treated and so forth. Well, when you find a description for that through historical research, and then study the Bible and see how these people were treated, okay, what was taken from them and so forth, what was taken from them and given to others and so forth, okay. When you actually study that from a historical perspective, you will see that the only people that match that description is the black man and woman here in America. Our enemies and their children are so wicked, they're so rotten-hearted that they don't want to see that, because we are just now coming into ourselves, but they still have the sway, okay? So they have a certain kind of arrogance about them that just should show us that we are the overcomers, and they do not deserve no kind of control over nothing in the future. This is their mind, okay? Because they have held sway for so long, they don't think it's going to be taken from them, but it already is, in ways that they think they can control because of their arrogance, because of their superiority complex, or really inferiority complex. We can explain that in two different ways, because this enemy does that because he believes he's superior, because of his position, in society. But then there's others among them that do that because they know they are inferior, and they don't want us to see and know ourselves, or identify exactly who we are to ourselves, to know that, they are not something to obey, not someone to scratch where you not itching at and so forth. Man, we have a great problem with the Negro mentality here in Portland, Oregon. That's real talk, but we have to speak to it Okay, because when you speak to it, when you actually give that word that can't be refuted, it works on them. Either going to help them or destroy them. Either going to show them up to be of a character, that we should shun from among us, or we're going to build together. Either way, But it always starts off with those people who are who have the courage to actually say that word and so forth, and then we actually say it in a way, or we should be developing to say it in a way that's proper, that's not uncivilized and so forth. And this is why it is important to not be the kind of person that want to reject the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan. To not be, because they are human beings that seeds the mind. Okay, even the rejectors have been seeded by this word to destroy them, but they can't see it. Okay, but hey, we who do see it and do study, we have to continue so that we may continue to actually achieve and gain Allah's mercy in this thing called the judgment. So, after, let me start over that point. The understanding that we have accepted personally, we have to accept collective obligation according to our capacity to grasp principles and the law of self-preservation. Then this demonstrates why we are living in the day of our defects being manifested. Each understand revelation, and this is very important, and we should learn these things to calm ourselves down, to learn how to like knowledge, to just enjoy knowledge and enlightenment and stuff and so forth, to enjoy not being the kind of person where when you don't want to smile at white folks, you smile anyway. It's a blessing to actually be like that in this day and time. It's a blessing to actually, understand that in this society, really Allah controls it all, even though they think that they have some kind of sway over things and so forth. But He is destroying their society. He is destroying their home life. I said one time, some time ago, I made the point that, a lot of these societies, and you can just study them, but by just watching the investigative reports on YouTube and other social media things or whatever and so forth. A lot of these people in their societies, their families is getting worse and worse with drugs and methamphetamines and all this other and fentanyl and so forth. And some say, well, but that's all people. Oh yeah. But it's interesting that same people who and this is documented. It ain't nothing to be arguing in circles about. The same people that put crack cocaine into our neighborhood, put heroin into our neighborhood and so forth, practice in our neighborhoods, gentrifying us from our community. That destroyed the family. Okay, you had white men and still do today. Ravaging our community by coming around disrespecting black women and so forth. And you might say, well, we do that to ourselves too. Yeah, we gather from this enemy. So we need a training, we need an education that would take us from his civilization to make us to be our true self. Anything that we have done is not our true self. It's something that he actually put in us and so forth. Okay? And Mr. Farrakhan always say, Allah didn't make niggas, Allah made man. Okay? So when you get that term, even if you want to say it as a term of endearment, understand what you're saying, because we do definitely have to identify that nigger mentality and then get rid of it. Okay? Because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, how did he say that? We have to make our communities decent and safe places to live. And that definitely means getting rid of the Negro mentality. Ain't no doubt about that. But again, a nigga is what a nigga does. No doubt about it. And we are so powerful, even in our negativity, we are so powerful. You got white boys and Asians calling each other nigger. How much powerful will we be when we come back to our true powers? to our true selves, to that love of self and so forth. This is why we are the permanent, next and permanent rulers for humanity. We have been chosen to bring humanity back to the true worship of the one true God. Okay? We can demonstrate this with nature and with Scripture. Now, let me start over. Each understand revelation according to the quality of our heart. Each understand revelation according to our health. Each glean revelation according to our experiences in life and how we got or get through our experiences. We must never forget. We must never forget. And the enemy wants us to forget this. Okay? He always wants to be in the mix so that he can continue his subjection of the people. That's the only reason why he has been the influence that he has been, not righteously, not positively, but conquering people with deceit and falsehood and technology. Okay? So, we must never forget that the first organization, remember we said earlier that unity built on expediency does not last long. Okay? But that unity is coming with us and for us. You know, we can demonstrate how the things that we see on TV where they try to still make fools of our people when it comes to this fake hip hop and this other stuff, we can demonstrate on the other end how our people are actually going against that, because we know that the enemy's media, you know, whether it's TV, magazines, whatever, you know, it is designed to make people bow to their own desires. But there is many of us today who speak directly against what the ignorant of our people is allowing the enemy of God to do with them. Okay? So, we must never forget that the first organization is a human being, is the human being. And that the basic unit of any community or society is a single person. We can't truly unite collectively with others until we ourselves are united internally. Okay? I want to get to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's words in this book, Torchlight for America. And I want to see where that point is at. But let me first start though. Okay, the word with this first. The word being bond in our own persons. Let's go a little bit further into that. The word being bond in our own persons means that we practice day-to-day gaining control over our personal lives. The minister said that the greatest discipline is that discipline that we impose on self, unquote. Then we experience the value of elevated thinking. Then we can honestly reflect within that we are in this world but not of this world. You see, many of us, we read these biblical verses and so forth, but we don't place them in proper time and context. And sometimes we don't even look up the words, what a word means and so forth. Okay? In the Bible, when it talks about the world, where is that at? It says in James, 1st chapter, 22nd verse, it says, quote, be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves, unquote. In James 4:4, it reads, know ye not that the friendship of this world is enmity with God? Whosoever would be a friend of the world is the enemy of God, unquote. So we are in such a world. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, Savior's Day 1973, we are raised up to show the world how it feels to be righteous. You said, okay, you be probably thinking, 1973, let me tell you this. Okay, this past July 4th, the YouTube page, I think it's called Mr. Muhammad Speaks. This past July 4th, this brother, on his YouTube page, he put up a 12-hour marathon of the speeches of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. 12 hours, okay? You can review what he said in many decades back, and study it and so forth. It's an unfolding knowledge, okay? 1973 Savior's Day is on YouTube. You can also get it for yourself on our universal website, noi.org. Okay, so the word being bond in ourselves. Some attempt to discard the importance of foretold, forthcoming events because of voluntary ignorance and other reasons. Okay? Some of the hardest person to teach, and I heard the wise one say this, the hardest person to teach are those who think they already know what they don't know. Okay? So they got to get over that, and that's a hard hump to get over, because when you already think you know, what has to come in your life to like shock you, to be like, and sometimes that shock could be an embarrassment, but it will aid and help us in life. And that shock, one of the best things to do to actually compare your thinking, to grade your thinking, to reflect on your inner character, is to begin to practice reading the Quran, reading the Bible, reading science books, aloud or silently with a dictionary, in quiet and so forth. That's a great inner reflection. You talking about self-knowledge and so forth. When you begin to in quiet, where your whole being is focused on your experiences, your thoughts, and you trying to absorb proper literature, man, it shows us so much of ourselves. And we are not really to be embarrassed, because I recall the minister wrote in the self-improvement study guides that when you see a defect, take it as gold. I forget the exact terminology, or a diamond, because when you see that and then you improve yourself, you just growing and developing your character. Like a diamond has to go through fire to get its dross and to make it shaped and so forth. Okay? So, let me see here. Yes, voluntary ignorance refers to unaware states that result from the neglect to take reasonable steps to acquire a requisite important knowledge. The minister described this in the self-improvement study series as intellectual cowardice. That's a deep. Those are powerful words. Intellectual cowardice. A person is so comfortable with what they think they already know. If they feel like, okay, if they learn something else, oh man, it's gonna. They feel like it's gonna hurt them or something. If they learn something that they contrary or even better than what they have been thinking all along. But the universe is like that. Okay? The universe is infinite knowledge, where you learn more and more about what you already thought you knew about. Absolutely. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote in Fall of America, page 239. He wrote, "The disbeliever believes in that which he sees present and not that which is prophesied to come. This is why he is the loser and takes the course to hell, because he disbelieves in that which is prophesied to come about a particular day." Unquote. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad also advised us, you see, some people really do not take the time to be like, okay, let me take a seat and just really understand what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what the Jesus in our midst today, Mr. Farrakhan, is actually teaching. Okay? Think about these groups of words. Think about it. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, or he advised the people, ask questions and learn all about yourself. Ask questions and learn all about yourself. Okay? The minister reminds us often that in the word question is quest I on. Quest I on. So what is to come about a particular day? What is to come about in a day that is the day of judgment, in the day that is the terrible day of the Lord, in the day that is the time wherein it will be a change up of civilization through war, okay, through a lot of things. Because, how did they say it? This world came in with a bang, you know, by conquering people and blowing up people and lying to folks and so forth. They're going out with a bang. They're going out with a bang, okay? This is why in the Bible, you know, it is said that Jesus said that to pray that that day is shortened, for if not, no soul or no flesh would be saved and so forth. It's a lot of understanding to that. It's just, it sounds like it is a blanket statement, but it is a statement of divine truth that deserves to be studied. Okay, so let me see here. I really want to get, so we are talking about messenger, from messenger to community, from community to messenger. I want to get into something before we get, because I really want to cover this. The word being bond in our own persons. Okay? This means that we have to go against the grain. We have to get more strength to actually not go alone to get along, but we have to understand why it is our time to not go along to get along, to not go along with these people that are no good, man. I'm not talking about every white individual, but their civilization is no good for themselves. No good for themselves. You see some of them that has become believers in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They're on what is it? Is that Instagram or Twitter? Yes, I think Instagram and so forth. You can see a few of them, you know, posting, you know, how you to live, you know, posting the messenger sayings and stuff like that. This truth is for everybody that want to accept it. And the messenger did say, you know, did write that there will be a certain kind of white persons that will escape the doom of this world. Real talk, okay? So let me get to this though, because I really want to talk about. I really want to bring home the point that we have to know that truth is on our side, so that we don't have to go alone to get along. In building our community, we have to understand why it's time for us to recognize that this enemy do not want us to be able to rule self, to do for self. You know, it's in them. Okay? So really quick, I want to get into this. You know, we just passed the July 4th celebration, independence celebration. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he wrote about that very succinctly and very, very clearly, and why, you know, it even have meaning for us today. Actually, you know, July 4th is our celebration too, because the great God, Master Fard Muhammad, to whom all praise are due forever, okay, he came July 4th, 1930. He made himself known July 4th, 1930 in Detroit. And marking the end of this world, marking setting up a beachhead, you know, in this modern or wicked Babylon, and then proceeding to take control to bring humanity back to righteousness. Deep, okay? So look, we got 20 minutes. A Vision for America. Chapter 8, Torchlight for America, written by Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Okay? A Vision for America. 1992 marked the quintessential year of the opening up of the New World. Christopher Columbus is said to have discovered America, this continent, in 1492. Since 1492, the Native American people have been misused, abused, and then neglected. Since 1555, the black people brought to these shores and chains have also been misused, abused, and now remain neglected. So they still want to as for example, they still are trying to put up the argument that they don't want to give us reparations. These people crazy. You know, you sending all these millions overseas to war. You letting in immigrants, and then they getting these hotels, and then y'all up here using people's taxes, the city's coffer, to actually pay for their hotels and so forth, and to give them little bank cards and stuff. But you don't want to actually look at the black man and woman that built the country, okay? That you actually, what's the word for that? That you leverage yourself from, okay, to stay how you are and so forth, using our tax dollar without even asking us, okay? But then when we ask for reparations, well, it'll break the country. You're crazy. And that's why Allah himself is destroying this enemy's world. Because you deserve it, man. This is not something that needs to be talked about in circles. You know, some say, well, you know, we don't have the money. How, you know, well, if you don't have the money and you just printing it, well, then print some more. Print some more, okay? And give us our reparations. Most definitely. If not, if you don't, if it's already in the plan that Allah, you know, make your heart so rotten that you don't, you know, we're going to have a country anyway. Us and other Aboriginal peoples. Real talk. Real talk. In the official history of the Seal of America, published by the Department of State in 1909, Gaylord Hunt wrote that late in the afternoon, July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress resolved that Dr. Benjamin Franklin, Mr. John Adams, Mr. Thomas Jefferson be a committee to prepare a device for a seal of America. In the design proposed by the first committee, the obverse, or the face of the seal, was a coat of arms in six quarters, with emblems representing England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Germany, Holland, the country from which the new nation had been peopled. The eye of prominence in a radiant triangle in the modem e pluribus unum were also proposed for the obverse. Even though the country was populated by the so-called Indians and black slaves were brought to build the country, the official seal of the country was never designed to reflect our presence, only that of the European immigrants. So look what's happening now. You know, you are upset and you know, some of you are upset and just losing it that these Asians, these Mexicans, these Africans, they rushing in and so forth. And they trying to get you for all you got. Interesting. Interesting. The seal in the Constitution reflect the thinking of the founding fathers, that this was to be a nation by white people and for white people. Native Americans, blacks, and all other non-white people were to be the burden bearers of the real citizens of this nation. For the reverse, or back of the seal, the committee suggested a picture of Pharaoh. Think about this. This enemy know who he is. He knew it then, he knew it now. Okay? He did this. This is documented, something that he did. Okay? For the reverse, back of the seal, the committee suggested a picture of Pharaoh sitting in an open chariot with a crown on his head and a sword in his hand, passing through the divided waters of the Red Sea in pursuit of the Israelites. Hovering over the sea was to be shown a pillar of fire in a cloud expressive of the divine presence and command. Raised from this pillar of fire were to be shown beaming on Moses, standing on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, causing it to overwhelm Pharaoh. So this enemy, he actually made a symbol for his country, actually showing that he is the Pharaoh that the God is angry with. Wow. But you want to be an Uncle Tom, an Aunt Sue, you know what I'm saying? You want to be one of these sellout cowards? That's an intellectual coward? Okay. So again, raised from this pillar of fire were to be shown beaming on Moses, standing on the shore and extending his hand over the sea, causing it to overwhelm Pharaoh. The model for the reverse was, they made this. The model for the reverse was rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. That's what Pharaoh said. Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God, because they want to be God. They want to challenge God. They want to find God and kill him. Man, that's why these LGBTQ whatever, that gay mafia. That's why they so bold. Man, I was watching some of the YouTube videos of the Pride Parade, and these other white folks, they'd come and protest and be like, you're sinning and all this stuff. Man, these homosexuals would pass by and say, F Jesus, F God. Seriously, man, this is real in 2024. Now, the design reveals the spiritual blindness inherited in the Genesis of America. The founding fathers upheld obedience to God as a symbol while practicing genocide, colonialism, slavery among the native populations and our forebears. Now, here's 2 points that President Trump should study. Okay? Biden is over, but he should still go back over this and study this. Okay? Listen. It was Thomas Jefferson who said, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just and that his justice cannot sleep forever. It was George Washington who said that he feared the slaves would become a most troublesome species of property before too many years passed over our heads. And then the minister said, look at the American political scene today. Just look at it, man. With the white stream media, with their Negro imps, with their Asian imps, with their Mexican imps, IMPS, IMPS. He continues, America is faced with political and moral dilemma of reconciling pluralism and the inclusion of non-whites with the democratic ideas espoused by the founding fathers. Man, yes. So, from messenger to community, from community to nation, the word being bond in our own persons. We have to bond this word in ourselves, because this world is set on making us, or helping us, aiding us, really aiding us to bow to our low desires, aiding us to practice false ideas and concepts. So, from messenger to community is the message from the messenger being seeded for a new world order. From community to nation is continuation of a word or message by a body of people that realizes that the word and the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and his self-concept, okay, that's important, is unfolding. This is all unfolding supreme wisdom, okay? An apostle, a messenger, a divine guide from the God. Not only is his teachings to be studied, his person, his concept, his self-concept is to be studied, because he's a new human being for us. Real talk. As is Minister Farrakhan today. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is exalted, having been made more than the messenger. He is a powerful executor of happenings, as he and Master Fard Muhammad, the God in person, backs Minister Farrakhan. Listen to this now. Again, this is a science that when you actually study scripture, study prophecy, what makes non-conditional and conditional prophecy, when you study that, you will understand what I'm about to read. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, in Theology of Time, dated September 3rd, 1972, quote, if you just recognize me for what I am, you will be all right. The white man don't like Elijah. If he don't like Elijah, let him try to run him out of here. You say we can do it. What we? Do you not think that Allah gave me power over we? I am the right hand of God, unquote. That's what he said. Okay? So, when you look at the companions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and what they have given us to continue to study and so forth, you will see why this should not be ignored. This should not be ignored. He also made it very clear, he also made it very clear that very important characters or persons will rise up to build on his teachings for our edification. So I already mentioned, Mother Muhammad, Brother Jibril Muhammad. The major one is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Again, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made it very clear that characters or persons will rise up to build on his teachings for our edification. Okay? For our edification. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad openly made it clear that he would not do all of the guiding by himself. In this regard, there is one of the clearest examples of this written of on the bottom page of his monumental book, Our Savior Has Arrived, page 108. I'm going to read this, okay? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, quote, "But Allah will not let any of us be blind today to the truth. This is why he came himself, to be sure that there will not be any mistake made. Allah makes for himself a messenger. Then Allah guides the messenger. He does not leave the guiding. He does not leave the messenger to do all of the guiding. Then Allah sends angels to see that his guidance is carried out like he taught the messenger to do." From messenger to community, from community to nation. Okay? And we covered this point earlier, but I want to cover it. Well, no. Let's just cover a point about the word being bond in our own persons, a biblical point. Because if it's not bond in our own persons, this enemy will take advantage of us. He's a wolf. How that common phrase going. He's a wolf in sheep clothing. A wolf in sheep clothing. You ever saw that caricature, that picture, that cartoon where it's all these sheep, all these sheep together, and then right in the middle it's a wolf with a sheep face or mask on. He know how to hide himself. He know how to, no doubt. So the word being bond in our own persons. Here's a biblical point. They actually show us that, hey, you got to get control of your thoughts because the enemy wants your thoughts, wants your mind. In the book of Daniel, 11:14, it reads, "And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also, the robbers of thy people." The robbers of thy people. They robbed you. They robbed you, man. "The robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish division, but they shall fail." But they shall fail. Okay? I don't think I need to define the word exalt and vision and stuff like that. Okay? But let's be very clear. They are trying to establish something to make it seem like it is the norm, but it's not the norm, okay? But it's not the norm. The false vision of interracial relationships, the false vision of the homosexual agenda, the false vision of our open enemies agreeing to properly distribute the wealth, their ill gain. That's a false vision, man. That's not going to happen. They're going to be broken down. Matter of fact, the dollar is to totally collapse. Okay? Some say, how's that going to happen? How you know that? Man, look, we are living in the time of universal change. Okay? Allah said in both Bible and Holy Quran that He's going to make all things new. Empires fall. Empires rise and fall. Except for the how can I say that? Except for the everlasting origination or the point of origination of the original man. We just take on certain errors to actually take ourselves into perfection. Okay? So we didn't really fall. We allowed this civilization to have a period of 6,000 years to rule. And after that, it's over. Okay? And we are put into our proper place and position. So again, I want to read this point over for sure. The false vision of our open enemies agreeing to properly distribute the wealth. So when they have these poor people programs and charity programs and all of that is just a farce, man, to make people who are ignorant think that one day they're going to make it okay. No, they not. They're going to try to hoard all they can, and then a time going to come where even what they hoard is going to be worthless. Allah can strike us anywhere. Anywhere. Okay? Now let me see here. Let me see. I got 5 minutes left. Yes. Let me see. Allah's mercy. There are many twists and turns that the world can use to take. That the word can cause us to take, The ultimate victory will be for the believing community. There are many ups and downs. There are many unfortunate things, but it's all in a plan for Allah to take this enemy to his well-earned doom. Okay? Holy Quran says this, and we shall certainly try you with something of fear and hunger, and loss of property, and lives and fruit, and give good news to the patient who, when a misfortune befalls them, they say, surely we are Allah's, and to him we shall all return. Those are they on whom are blessings and mercies from their Lord, and those are the followers of a right course. So, the unfolding body of knowledge described as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings prepares us to guide humanity into the new after the destruction of this world. So hopefully we're gonna close with camera 5, and then I have a brother gonna play a song. It's a song, man, a nice rap song some years ago, and this. In the beginning is Brother Dr. Ali Muhammad, where they sample his voice for this song, for this rap song type. Okay, I greet you all in peace. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back at you a different day, same time. Assalamu alaikum.
We getting ready to change the whole world. So how are you going to stay the same? How are your thoughts going to stay the same? How is your body going to stay the same? How is your spiritual life going to stay the same? Under conditions like this, where God himself is bringing in a change and declares that he makes all things new, including you. That means you. He going to make you new. He going to make you so new that you're going to look in the mirror and say, who is that? And everybody else going to look at you and say, who is that? That ain't that old boy that used to be around here smoking reefer, is it? Yes, it is. But look at him. Look at her. Look at what they're doing now. They're doing things that nobody else has ever done. Don't make no mistake about it. The Nation of Islam does not represent integration and racial equality. No, we don't. We could all be equal if we had all been through the same experience. But we haven't all been through the same experience. If I've experienced something that you have not experienced, then that makes me different than you. If we're athletes and my training was more intense than your training, then when we get in the ring and the fight begins, who's gonna win? The fighter with the best conditioning is gonna win. Is that right? Because he put in more push-ups. He ran more miles on the track. He lifted more weight. He did more sparring rounds. He put in extra effort beyond what his opponent was willing to do. His opponent was trying to lay back and take it easy and maybe rest on his laurels, and that's when the champion gets knocked out. He's not as hungry as his opponent. Well, now you tell me who's hungrier than the black man and woman in America? Who's been through more training? Who's been through